Are we ready?
Give us 1 second. We want to confirm that the streaming is working.
Okay, it should pop up.
Oscar, is it popping up on the YouTube page? Or Steve?
I don't see it yet.
Okay.
It takes a moment.
Okay.
And we're on.
Okay, ready. Good afternoon. The July 2nd, 2020 regular board meeting of the City Colleges of Chicago is now called to order. For the record, the state of Illinois continues to operate under a statewide disaster proclamation, first issued by Governor Pritzker on March 9th and reaffirmed on June 26, 2020. I would also note that we continue to be subject to restrictions in the size and types of gatherings that are permissible under both the current phase of the state of Illinois' Restore Illinois program, as well as under Public Health Order number 2020-9, third amended and reissued by the Commissioner of Health of the City of Chicago. Today, we meet virtually to undertake certain actions for the continued efficient operation of the district. Will the Assistant Secretary?
Yeah, yes, unfortunately, I'm on a conference call right now.
You have to mute yourself, Darryl, please. Yeah. Will the Assistant Board Secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Swanson?
Present.
Trustee Tellman?
Present.
Trustee Williams?
Present.
Student Trustee Thomas?
Present.
Chair Massey?
Present. We have a quorum?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let the record show that in accordance with the Illinois Public Community College Act and the Illinois Open Meetings Act, we have a quorum. So I'll make a few brief remarks. Last year, we planned our schedule of meetings for 2020. When we planned those, we had expected to visit Arturo Vasquez Institute, sometimes called AZI, which is part of Daly College for today's meeting. Unfortunately, as was the case with our planned visit to Olive Harvey College in April, we could not do so today because of the current health emergency. I would like to thank President Janowski and everyone at both AVI and Daly for your willingness to host us, and we look forward to meeting there as soon as the restrictions are lifted. I would also like to thank Chancellor Salgado and President Hollingsworth for letting me sort of elbow my way in on your recent spring signing ceremony for a new articulation agreement with the Chicago State University for CCC graduates from our Transportation, Distribution, and Logistics program at Olive Harvey. It was really a wonderful event, and it was great to learn about the increasingly seamless path that our students have from CCC to their four-year degree in what is now a critical and rapidly growing field. Due to this partnership, we will be able to look forward to hearing more about these future pathways at other four-year colleges. Finally, I want to say that while it was not the raucous affair and wonderfully raucous affair we have grown accustomed to at the Wintrust Arena over the past years, this year's graduation was done very nicely virtually. Congratulations to our graduates Thanks to all the staff and faculty who worked to transition from the in-person event to the online ceremonies. Now, with the leave of the body, I'd like to take item 1.03 out of order and I'll have that come up now. Each year, the board is required to elect officers. For 2021, it will be easier because it's the same slate of individuals as we have serving now. I'm very delighted to note that Beth Swanson and Peggy Davis have agreed to continue to serve in their roles as vice chair and board secretary, respectively. I'm personally grateful to them and to each of the members of the board for the support you provide to me as board chair and your continued advocacy on behalf of city colleges. With that, I will entertain a motion to move resolution 1.03.
So moved.
Second.
A second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We don't need a roll call, do we?
Just a voice vote is fine, Chair.
Just a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion is carried. Thank you all. Thank you very much for agreeing to serve, Peggy and Beth. So, Student Trustee Thomas, would you like to say a few words, please?
Yes, I have a few things I want to talk about.
Okay.
We've been having different discussions throughout the schools the past month, and it's actually wonderful. I got an email last night from the chancellor stating that it's kind of in line with what we're talking about. So I'm actually excited to get this ball rolling. It happened to be like by coincidence that we're actually on the same page with this. So I'm actually going to turn it over to him to let him talk more about it. So thank you.
That's it?
Yeah, that's the end of my report. Yeah, yeah, I was gonna be real brief with it.
I love
take it
your
over.
reports. Thanks a lot, Student Trustee Thomas.
No
Chancellor Salgado, the gauntlet has been thrown down with respect to brevity.
Well, you know, I am going to disappoint you then today. I'm going to take the time that you and Student Trustee Thomas have provided to me, because I do have quite a bit to say. You know, I do have a few important updates. The CCC community receives some of this communication, but it's so important for it to be reiterated. We announced last week that to protect the health and safety of our students, faculty, and staff, most City College credit classes will be offered remotely or online this fall, and adult education classes will be offered via distance learning this fall. We're going to limit the number of credit classes offered either fully face-to-face or as blended face-to-face. And we're going to have hands-on experiences that are essential to meeting course requirements or when student learning and retention can benefit. That's when we're going to be in the classroom. We've prioritized the health and safety of our campus community during these times. In all cases, face-to-face instruction will be undertaken only as public health conditions allow and with social distancing in place. So important to know that student services will be delivered both remotely and in person. And our colleges will be open as study centers with proper protections in place so that those students that need a quiet place, that need a conducive place, will have that place. Our students will be able to go to any college in order to find that space. And so you can be taking a course at one college, but sitting physically at another college space in order to take advantage of the technology, the quiet space, the library, what you need as a student, if in fact you need to be on campus at all. We will resume some limited on-campus student services as early as Monday, August 3rd, as we head into the heart of our registration time period. And we'll also continue to support our students with a host of resources, scholarship grants, technology, and obviously changes in our facilities to reflect social distancing safety measures. We did that in the spring very effectively. We will do that in the fall very effectively as well. We've distributed, Chair Massey and all so far, $5 million in CARES Act funds to students every day. That number grows, and we will continue to distribute those resources as the semesters unroll. Last week, we also shared our proposed FY21 budget, which the board will consider in August. On Tuesday, July 7th at 4 p.m., we will hold our budget hearing online via our YouTube page. So questions and comments should be submitted via email at cccbudget@ccc.edu, or you can also call us at 312-553-3320. I'm not going to go into a full presentation of the budget now. We will do that during the budget hearing. I will just say that the budget is balanced without building sale proceeds, and it is oriented in order to support teaching and learning during COVID-19 while continuing to make strategic investments in educational quality, student supports, scholarships, and grants. As you know, we've held tuition credit hour rate level for the 5th straight year. And we have benefited and want to thank Governor Pritzker and the state legislature for passing a budget. You know, this is the 2nd year in a row that our governor has worked with our legislator to ensure that institutions like ours have a budget in a timely way that we can present to you, our trustees, a budget. And I say that knowing that this institution went through a couple years of uncertainty where we couldn't communicate well enough to you, our trustees, or to our students, or to our campus community, the financial plans that we had in the future. So we're deeply appreciative of that, especially during this time period. I do want to highlight that, you know, out of abundance of caution and concern for student safety, we are suspending athletics and aquatics programs for the 2020-21 school year, albeit honoring tuition waivers to those that had it and those that were offered it. And we've also, given that we're prioritizing remote and online learning, have eliminated the CTU UPass program in FY21. However, I do want you to know that I have been in conversation with student trustee Thomas, and that we do have a pool of resources for the limited number of students that we be visiting campuses and need CTA transit assistance. And I'll be visiting with DSGA this coming week in order to share some of that information and you know, work towards ensuring that student needs some transit assistance to get to campus. You know, we will have resources on a needs basis. I have another very important update. This year, CCC celebrated Juneteenth by providing employees early dismissal. I want to thank the teams at Wright College and Kennedy College for holding very thoughtful Juneteenth virtual events that the entire CCC community was invited to attend. And as a follow-up to my Juneteenth message to the CCC community, I would like to share the steps that we are taking to establish an anti-racism agenda at CCC. This agenda will build on existing strengths of our institution. And we have strengths, namely the diversity of our institution. Our board is over 60% African American. The people I have selected to lead CCC, my cabinet and presidents, are 43% African American, 29% Latinx. Among the next level of leadership, vice chancellors and vice presidents, we are 50% African American and 11% Latinx. I share that because this is not the picture of higher education in the United States of America in terms of leadership. but this is the picture at CCC. And yet, despite that, while we are far ahead of many institutions, we still have significant work to do to truly be an environment that embraces diversity, fully includes, and is free in all respects of racism. A place where we learn to recognize our biases and free ourselves and our institution from the negative impacts of living in a racist society. First, I want you to know what we're doing. First, I will launch a new interdisciplinary committee to advance anti-racism work across city colleges. This committee will include district, college, student, faculty, and after consultation with Chair Massey, trustee leadership to create a comprehensive anti-racism agenda at city colleges. This committee will be a sounding board for new programs that address the roots and impacts of systemic racism, help develop recommendations for policies that can significantly impact accessibility and success at CCC, and recommend an advocacy agenda for policy and funding at the federal, state, and local levels to address the impacts of systemic racism on our students. These are the initial charges of this committee. I'm open to additional ideas and feedback. Second, we will make a key investment in personnel who will apply an anti-racism lens to our operations. Our Chief Strategy Officer, Veronica Herrero, will bring on a leader to her team who will help operationalize our equity plans, support the equity game changers involved in our partnership with Chicago Public Schools to facilitate opportunities for students to access our students, and help the aforementioned anti-racism committee by staffing. Today, I want you to know that this work is already in progress. For over a year, our colleges have been working on equity plans to close the racial achievement gaps that existed. The gaps are not new. They have existed for years. What is new is our commitment, made more than a year ago, to be transparent about them and have strategies to address them. We will be releasing these plans at our August meeting. I want to thank our college presidents and our district leadership that have worked very hard to create these plans over the course of the year. In the coming days, we will also be launching a partnership, and I believe, Student Trustee Thomas, this may be what you were referring to, right? In terms of how we're connected and hadn't really talked about this, right? But I'm so glad to hear that the students have been talking about this as well. We'll be launching a partnership with Tooth Racial Healing and Transformation, a project supported by the Kellogg Foundation and the Woods Fund of Chicago that seeks to fight racism by bringing together business, nonprofit, and government leaders, artists, organizers, concerned citizens to speak truth about racism, heal from the traumas of racism, and use collective power to eliminate racial barriers and policies in Chicago. We will be making a formal announcement about this soon, but let me just say, I believe that our students and our institutions can be and are called to be leaders at the forefront of this work. And that is what has driven us to this partnership that you will be hearing about with TRHT Chicago. Each of these are early steps in our efforts to establish an anti-racism agenda. We look forward to working substantively with internal and external stakeholders to refine and expand this work. Moving on, Chair Massey mentioned this past weekend virtual commencement online. I simply want to once again congratulate our graduates. And if anyone has not been able to view it, please do so. It's still online for you to be able to view. But this is an extraordinary year, and it's an extraordinary set of circumstance, but extraordinary leaders get born out of extraordinary circumstances. Extraordinary students get formed out of extraordinary circumstances. And so while this has been difficult, I look forward to what this moment means to our society and particularly our students for years to come. I also want to thank the CME Group for continuing their support of our graduates by providing 25-star scholars with $5,000 scholarships each towards earning their bachelor's degree. I want to remind everyone that the last day to register for 16-week credit classes for this fall semester is August 20th. And the summer is going by fast. And so we are in July now. And so August 20th is the last day to register. On the topic of enrollment, I do want to welcome our newest team member of the team, David Diley, who has also assumed the role of Vice Chancellor of Institutional Branding and Strategic Marketing. His expertise will be helpful as we navigate this unprecedented period and increase our investment in marketing. I know Chair Massey has met with him. He's gone out to do a presentation to Faculty Council, and we're very excited about what's ahead. We also have had a number of new initiatives that I'll just say something briefly about. We kicked off last week work on the Chicago Roadmap, an unprecedented effort to create the strongest ever relationship with the Chicago Public Schools that puts Chicago students on a seamless path to and through college. This will be the central guide of our work with CPS going forward, work that we started from day one as my tenure as Chancellor. Ultimately, the goal of the roadmap is to remove barriers to higher education. Its impact will be measured by post-secondary enrollment into CCC, post-secondary completion, employment, and economic mobility over the next 5 years. You'll be hearing over the next few weeks about the launch of a new debt forgiveness program to remove the financial obstacles to completion for students who spent time with us but left without earning a degree or certification. More to come on that effort. Also at Malcolm X, Malcolm X will be the go-to training partnership for the Chicago Department of Public Health and the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership on contact tracing. We will be offering this program in English and Spanish, and it will focus on equipping communities of color to respond to COVID, to help keep our communities safe and healthy. And we hope this will be just the start of students' healthcare careers. The advantage of Malcolm X as a partner is beyond just learning to be a contract tracer. It's also about entry into a broad array of quality health science programs that we've offered. But it's not just health sciences. We have had more than 1,200 people sign up for free Cisco Training Academy programs in either English or Spanish that we offer through continuing education. We have a new cybersecurity associate's degree program approved for Kennedy King College, which now joins Wright College in offering this program. And finally, this week, we hosted another virtual college exploration experience with college access organizations. I'd like to thank our partners, Bottom Line, Chicago Scholars, Genesis Works, One Goal, 1 Million Degrees, and Youth Guidance for encouraging their students to learn more about options at City Colleges Chicago. Programming continues to be available online at ccc.edu/virtualweek. We will be doing these virtual week programs all summer long. So if you missed out on this opportunity, please sign up for another. I can't go over the many more things that are going on at City Colleges, but Chair Massey, what I wanted to do is make it abundantly clear that while we are sheltered, still largely in place, and we are working remotely, the entire City Colleges team, everybody on our campuses and our district office has been working tirelessly in order to make sure that we honor the mission and the values of this institution, especially during these times. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chancellor Salgado. Very full, impressive report. People really are busy. You wouldn't know that we had a shutdown in many areas. Congratulations to everyone who's keeping the work going. And now we are at the point where we have public participation. We have 4 requests for speakers today. For our public speakers, a clock will appear on your screens that will show your allotted time. Once your 3 minutes have expired, if you have not concluded, your remarks will be asked, you will be asked once to bring your remarks to a close, and then we will proceed with our agenda. We appreciate your understanding and your assistance in helping this to go smoothly. Assistant Board Secretary Kane, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Massey. I'd also like to note for the record that Secretary Davis and Trustee Kent have joined us as well. For this month, we have actually two of our public speakers were unable to connect. So we have 2 public speakers for today, Dolores Withers and Beth Harris. For our public speakers, we will now call you one by one. If you're following today's proceedings online, please mute your computer audio at this time. In the corner of the screen, you'll see that there's a clock, and as the clock approaches 3 minutes, please bring your remarks to a close. And we will begin with Ms. Withers.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a moment to, I'm sorry, can you hear me? I'm having a problem here.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'll start over. Thank you for giving me a moment to address the Board of Trustees this afternoon in these uncertain times. As the board knows, I am the president of the Federation of College Clerical and Technical Personnel, Local 1708, both part-time and full-time personnel. I've had the honor of being president of this local for many years. It is truly unfortunate, very unfortunate, that I have to bring the following issues to the Board of Trustees' attention. Local 1708, if we have not already done so by this afternoon, will be filing an unfair labor practice, ULP, and several grievances due to the numerous collective bargaining agreement violations. My primary concern is the board will approve several personnel actions during the closed door section this afternoon, under the impression that all labor laws and collective bargaining agreement provisions were followed during this process. The recent reduction in force, job elimination, and several recent policies that have been implemented, changing Local 1708 members' working conditions, were completed without prior negotiations and agreement with the union, which is a direct violation of Article 3C of our CBAs, which states, the board agrees that during the period of disagreement, it will take no action changing salaries, schedules, fringe benefits, and working conditions covered by this agreement without prior negotiations and agreement with the union. The Office of General Counsel and Human Resources seem to be under the impression a 2-minute telephone call or a left voicemail the day of a reduction in force is equivalent to bargaining in good faith and being compliant with our CBAs. Local 1708 can certainly appreciate the challenges that City Colleges is facing as they navigate through the COVID-19. However, CCC challenges are no different than several other educational institutions nationwide, as well as many other employers. It's not what the district is doing, it's how they are doing it. Inhumane and disrespectful for the long-term relationships with our employees and with the union. It is my hope that as the trustees go into closed session, they will not vote to approve the layoff of so many of our personnel. In fact, our initial conversation with the General Counsel is that there would be just a few, maybe 8. As you see by the list that's enclosed in your board report, there are quite a few more than 8 personnel that's being impacted. I want to say that City Colleges has purposely pulled this layoff in place at this time. And in fact, the CARES Act or the payroll protection money.
Please bring your remarks to a close.
Okay. Payroll protection terminated on May 23rd, less than 48 hours After that, city colleges
Ms. Withers,
initiated.
please bring your remarks to a close.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Harris.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great, okay, I'll start. My name is Beth Harris. I'm adjunct faculty in the communications department at Truman College, and I am here to address some myths about adjunct faculty. First myth is that we are somehow less qualified than full-time faculty. I want to give you a couple of examples. Just from my department, Derek Lazarski, adjunct, went on to head the Writing Center, become a Dean of Instruction. Jess Mahoney, Toby Bengelsdorf, adjuncts, went on to head the Reading and Writing Centers. Keith Spur, adjunct, went on to become a full-time faculty. You'll notice only one of those became a full-time faculty because we hardly ever have full-time faculty positions open. We now have a full-time faculty position open in my department, and about 7 of us are applying for this position. Only one of us will be able to get this position if it is hired from within. Those who are not hired are still equally highly qualified faculty members. There are not enough full-time jobs anywhere. Which brings me to the second myth, the illogical argument that we are paid badly because we are part-time. Last semester, I had a full-time load because I had an overload. If I am hired for this job and have the same full-time load this fall, last fall I had a full-time load. If I am hired for this job and have the same full-time load this fall, I will make more than twice as much as I made last fall. So if 50%, say, of my work is at city colleges because I have work other places, 50% of my income should be from city colleges, not 25% of my income. Which brings me to the third myth, which is that city colleges doesn't have the money. I understand that things are difficult right now with COVID-19. Things are difficult for us as well. And surely you should be able to see that in this difficult time this past semester, your adjunct faculty went above and beyond the above and beyond we usually go to help our students. We are hurting, we are angry, and we are wonderful teachers, and city colleges has the money. The salaries of a handful of administrators is equal to the money that we are looking for. We are a minuscule portion of the multi-million-dollar budget that city colleges have. And I urge you to find the money while you're doing your budgeting. I urge you to respect and support the hundreds of adjunct faculty, part-time librarians, and vocational lecturers who respect and support and teach the thousands of city colleges students. Thank you, and keep staying safe.
Thank you, Chair Massey. That concludes this month's public participation.
Thank you very much. I'm losing my, I've lost my, where are we, Ashley? I lost my.
Faculty Council report, sir.
The Faculty Council report. Oh, I see now. No, came back up. Professor Spruill, please.
You know, my computer does the weirdest things at the most inopportune times.
Right, 9-2.
Let me start this back up. Okay. You all can hear me pretty well, right?
We can hear you and see you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chairperson Massey, Board Trustees, Chancellor Salgado, Provost Potter, officers of the district, faculty, staff, and all of the streaming, good afternoon. I'm very pleased to report on the happenings within FC4 over this last month. The message went out, the message sent out by Chancellor Salgado and Provost Potter on June 24th, which detailed the plans for the fall semester, was a welcome one. While it may not be preferable in all disciplines and in specific classes, holding as many classes as possible remotely and allowing as many faculty and staff to work remotely is the safest and most responsible thing to do. With COVID infections spiking as states reopen, there's still much uncertainty about our ability to return to our physical colleges en masse. It is better for students to begin and end the semester in the same modality, where the routine and the class atmosphere and expectations remain constant. On a related topic, COVID has thrust us into a world in which we have had to rethink everything: our systems, our supports, and primarily our teaching. Faculty across the district have been engaged in conversations about teaching and learning at levels that I've never seen before. As we expand this conversation to what colleges owning online coursework looks like, I have also seen ground level engagement with faculty in that work. never seen before. Provost Potter and Megan Chandler to 2 FC4 meetings thus far to begin the work of creating structures for all colleges to offer online coursework. This should be the model for shared governance in all of the work we do. We should engage each other early and often. Over the summer, we will continue meeting to form the initial teams to begin this awesome and complex work. It will be messy, that's expected, but it will also be authentic, that's necessary. I'd like to thank Megan for the work that she's done at Harold Washington in the online space, and FC4 looks forward to working with her and others on her team and across the district to realize this work. Last month, we also had the opportunity to meet with David, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I want to say Deal, but I heard the chancellor just say it and I know I'm butchering it. So please forgive me, David. The Vice Chancellor for Institutional Branding and Strategic Marketing. Faculty are very interested in the ways in which we market our colleges and programs. We didn't get to dive deep into a discussion. However, David has agreed to join us again. While the budget for marketing has increased, we believe that there are many ways which we can engage faculty in grassroots marketing. This has, in former years, been the cornerstone of our individual colleges' enrollment strategies. Faculty are our colleges. We know who our students are and what our programs are about. Who knows that better than us? David provided a timeline of sorts that included a consultation with faculty. This is good and we need more of it. There are multiple arenas that faculty are interested in exploring. As we look to the fall semester, we don't know what the enrollment trends may look like, but we do know that this is not the time to sit on our hands and see what happens. We would like to know what marketing efforts are being made for the fall. With many students choosing to forego attending many four-year colleges because they don't believe that the costs are worth the experience that they would receive, we, the City Colleges of Chicago, are poised to serve these students who may not have normally come to us. We would hope that we are targeting those students, and we would like to show them that we have always been a destination of choice. COVID has not only displaced students, but it's destabilized many marginalized groups of people in our society, placing them in precarious situations. One of those groups are individuals returning to society from prison. For the last 2 years, some of us have been working on offering coursework to this population while in prison. That is no longer an option considering that prisons are a hotbed for the spread of COVID. But there are many who have been released, and without a plan or path forward, there's a good chance that they will return to prison. Criminologists and a multitude of studies have proven this to be true. We are uniquely poised to serve this population, even during a pandemic. President Hollingsworth and Jennifer Alexander have worked on the Prisons in School project, but knowing since that COVID has happened, that's been sidetracked, we still have an opportunity to reach out to returning citizens. This isn't just an enrollment tool, but as a public institution, it's our responsibility to create positive change in our communities. I'm calling for a renewed commitment to this population through education. Committee H, which is our standing committee in FC4 that is looking at prison education, would like to engage our district administrators and marketing to see how we can identify, contact, and serve these individuals. Finally, at our last board meeting, I discussed racism, police brutality, and our institutions. The Chancellor has already outlined the anti-racism agenda, so I won't belabor you by repeating it. FC4 is committed in engaging in this work, and we'll begin conversations about creating a new standing committee to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. While I thought the gesture of giving staff half a day off for Juneteenth was nice, I'd much prefer systemic change. I've taught at the city colleges for the last 10 years. My entire tenure here, we've had a person of color serving as chancellor. And here we are speaking about racism within our institutions. During our last administration, we saw the decimation of multiple programs at the various colleges in the name of reinvention that hindered access to programs and education that could have had the potential to change lives and communities, particularly the lives of Black and brown people in our city. So while there's great value in diversity in our hiring, that doesn't create change. Change comes from taking a critical look at our spaces, our practices, and our policies. I felt a real genuineness about the Chancellor's last letter and the work that he just laid out for us. I want to assure you that faculty are committed to being thought partners in that work and to bring about real change where change is needed, to amplify those things that we do well, and to create opportunities where it has yet to be imagined. So thank you, Chancellor, in thinking critically about this issue, and we look forward to rolling up our sleeves and rooting out racism in the many forms in which it lives throughout our systems and our colleges. This concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Professor Spur, and I hope you and your family and loved ones are doing well.
They are. Thank you so much.
And now, Secretary King, I have on my agenda public participation, but in my remarks, I don't see that. Do we have public participation today?
We just did that, Chair Massey. So we can move on to the review of the July 2020 packet.
Okay, so we won't do that or committee reports. Okay. Okay, we will proceed to review the items on the July 2nd, 2020 regular board meeting consent agenda. This month, all items for board action are on the consent agenda with the exception of resolution 1.03, which we have already acted upon. The substantive details have been posted on the board website consistent with our practice. The assistant board secretary will provide guidance to the presenters. Assistant Secretary Kang, please proceed with the review of the remaining board reports.
Thank you, Chair Massey. Officers of the district, college presidents, district staff, please prepare to provide your reports on the agenda items to the trustees. You are all joining the video and audio portions of the meeting now. Trustees, today's presenters are as follows. Associate Vice Chancellor Anthony will review resolutions 1.00, 1.01. Chief of Staff Lugo will review resolution 1.02. General Counsel Gowan will review resolution 1.04. Chief Talent Officer Dunning will review the personnel report, item 2.00. Chief of Staff Lugo will present the resource development report, item 3.00. ABC Anthony will report on agreement 4.00. Provost Potter will report on agreement 4.01. Chief Financial Officer Rodriguez will review agreement 4.02, followed by Chief Information Officer Martin with agreement 4.03. Director Passarelli will review agreements 4.04 and 4.05. Vice Chancellor Diley will report on purchase 5.00, and General Counsel Gowan will conclude with a review of legal invoices, item 6.00. For our presenters, please proceed one after another. Give a brief pause for any trustees who have a question about any of the items being presented. ABC Anthony, please proceed with resolution 1.00.
Thank you. Resolution 1.00 requests the board's authority to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Chicago Department of Assets, Information, and Services to purchase fuel from the city, as well as to maintain and repair certain CCC equipment, including 75 district-owned vehicles, for the period of July 2nd, 2020 through July 1, 2025, at a total cost not to exceed $920,000 for the term. Resolution 1.01 requests the board's authority to extend an existing intergovernmental agreement with the Chicago Department of Transportation's Green Corps program to maintain campus grounds and promote sustainable practices district-wide. The Green Corps program provides hands-on training experiences in careers like landscaping, tree care, ecological restoration, and brownfield remediation. The extended term shall run for the one-year period of July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021, at a total cost not to exceed $250,000.
Resolution 1.02 authorizes the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the Chicago Housing Authority to provide the delivery of educational and other services to CHA. The agreement provides CCC with a $1.2 million grant for the period of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 to support two key initiatives: the Partners in Education program, which offers last dollar tuition to CHA residents pursuing certifications and degrees from city colleges, and the Summer Earn and Learn program, which offers summer academic and enrichment programming for elementary and middle school students over the summer period.
Thank you. General Counsel Gowan, resolution 1.04.
Resolution 1.04 requests the board to adopt the temporary telework policy concerning COVID-19 that was previously provided to the board for review. It shall be effective as of July 3, 2020, and shall terminate upon the earlier of December 31st, 2020, or revocation of the policy by the board. We also request the board to approve the temporary sick leave policy concerning COVID-19 that was previously provided to the board for review. This policy will also be effective as July 3, 2020, and shall terminate upon the earlier of December 31, 2020, or revocation of such policy by the board. Finally, we ask the board to authorize the chancellor, upon his receiving the prior approval of the chair and the vice chair or the respective designees, to approve temporary policies that revise or replace the employee manual, the student employee handbook, the City Colleges of Chicago academic and student policies, the City Colleges of Chicago board policies, section 4.10, 4.11, 4.13, and 9.10, the temporary telework policy and the temporary sick leave policy, provided that these policies and the chancellor's authorization shall terminate upon the earlier of December 31st, 2020, or revocation of such policies and authorization by the board.
Thank you. There being no questions, CTO Dunning.
Board item 2.0 is a request to approve the July 2020 personnel report. There are 70 actions on this month's report. They include 4 new and rehires, 9 promotions, title and salary changes, and 57 reductions in force, resignations, retirements, and separations. This concludes this month's personnel report.
This month's resource development report includes grants funded and received in the amount of $1,170,628, new grants submitted in the amount of $11,381,021, and in-kind contributions received in the amount of $50,000. Highlights include previously discussed grant contributions to the Chancellor's Retention Fund and COVID-19 Student Emergency Fund at the City Colleges of Chicago Foundation, as well as a new grant to Wright College for a solar workforce training program. You'll also see reflected in our new submissions, resources designated through the CARES Act for minority serving institutions, totaling approximately $2 million for all 7 of our colleges. As previously discussed, City Colleges received 3 pools of CARES Act dollars, student-specific portion, an institutional portion, and this minority serving institution portion. The MSI resources will be allocated directly to student receivables, eliminating any outstanding debt for eligible students. $1.3 million was prioritized for the spring 2020 semester, with the remaining being prioritized for summer and fall 2020. As a reminder, individuals can visit ccc.edu/finance for regular updates on the CARES Act resources and distributions. Additional requests include resources to support summer melt, college coaching, and academic advising supports for students navigating college choice in the context of the pandemic. CCC continues to be recognized as a critical part of our city's recovery from COVID-19. If there are no questions, that will conclude this month's resource development report.
Thank you. Pending no questions, ABC Anthony with Agreement 4.00.
Agreement 4.00 requests the board's authority to amend an existing agreement with Bailey Edward Design to provide architectural and design services at the Westside Learning Center satellite campus of Malcolm X College for an amended term from October 5th, 2017 through December 31, 2022. There is no additional cost associated with this amendment.
Agreement 4.01 is with Parchment LLC for college credential services. Parchment will provide a streamlined process for students and former students to order their diplomas, certificates, and credentials in both paper form as well as in digital form, which is becoming an increasingly popular format for sharing credentials in job searches. Parchment is already our vendor for transcripts, and with this additional agreement, students will now be able to access a single account for both transcripts and credentials, order their printed copy of either, and receive the digital copy of their credential. This is a 3-year agreement at a total cost not to exceed $50,000.
Thank you, CFO Rodriguez. Agreement 4.02.
Agreement 4.02, this is an option to renew an agreement with U.S. Bank National Association to provide electronic payment card services for a vendor payments process from July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, when one option left to renew for 1 year. This is at no cost to the district as it provides revenue rebates based on CCC's annual vendor spend.
4.03 is an amendment to the agreement with AT&T Corporation to provide an additional $638,000 in authority for MiFi services for hotspots issued to 2,000 students and faculty related to our COVID-19 response. AT&T Corporation currently provides city colleges with network, voice, and security services for a period of November 1st, 2013 through October 31st, 2024 at a total cost not to exceed $14,490,548.
Thank you. Director Passarelli, agreements 4.04 and 4.05, please. Director Passarelli, unmute yourself, please.
Thank you. Board Report 4.04 seeks the board approval for the final year extension of insurance brokerage services offered by Measurable Insurance Services. Originally, this firm was selected by RFP process on July 7, 2016. This final year extension is for the period of July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021. All current terms, conditions, and compensations shall remain as the expiring, and that annual fee is $75,000. I might also add that there is full MBE, WBE direct participation at 25% and 7% respectively. It is expected that a new RFP for these services would be released in the first quarter of 2021. Item 4.05 is similar to the Measurable request in that it seeks the final year extension under the original RFP for third-party claims administration, originally awarded on July 7, 2016. This extension is for the period of July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021. All terms, conditions, compensation as the expiring agreement shall apply. The annual fee is $56,000, and there's also a contribution from the district to CCMSI for the escrow deposit from which claims are paid on behalf of the district. There is full MBE and WBE direct participation at 25% and 7% respectively, and it is anticipated that a new RFP for these services shall be released in the first quarter of 2021.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor Diley, purchase 5.00.
Distinguished trustees, purchase 5.0 is a request for your authorization to add a single media service provider to our current list of providers in the fiscal year 2018 to 21. Advertising services, advertising plan, namely the Crawford Media Group. Marketing and Communications Department of CCC is continually seeking ways to reach diverse markets, and the addition of the Crawford Media Group and their media property, Power 92, will enable us to enhance our reach to African Americans served by the station. The term remains unchanged, and we do not seek any additional budget authorization at this time beyond the original authorization of budget that was spread over four fiscal years. Thank you.
Thank you. General Counsel Gowen, the item 6.00.
Item 6.00 requests approval of legal invoices totaling $217,476.91. Such legal invoices covers litigation, labor, corporate, and higher education matters.
Chair Massey, that concludes the presentation of this month's board reports. Chair Massey, you're on mute if you're speaking. Chairman, you're still on mute, Chairman. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, I was said trust. Well, all other trustees, please unmute your systems. Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of the items listed that were just described? Or would any trustee like to request separate action on any of the items?
Chair Massey, there was a request to separate item 2.00, the personnel report, from the consent agenda.
Okay. Okay, taking out that item, I'd then like to have a motion to approve the other item, not the personnel report, but the resource development report, agreement purchases, and the legal invoices contained in the consent agenda and identified as part of the printed agenda on a single roll call vote. Is there a second?
Second.
Well, first I know motion first. The motion.
So moved.
And a second, okay. Call the roll, please, Assistant Secretary.
Vice Chair Swanson?
Approved.
Secretary Davis?
Approved.
Trustee Kent? Trustee Kent, could you unmute?
Approved.
Thank you. Trustee Tellman?
Approved.
Trustee Williams?
Approved.
Student Trustee Thomas?
Approved.
Chair Massey?
Approved. So thank you. Let the record show that the resolutions, the resource development report, the agreements, purchases, and legal invoices concluded on the consent July 22nd consent agenda have been approved. Okay, now shall we consider the personnel report separately?
No, Chair Massey, I believe for after closed session, I believe.
Oh, we're coming back? Okay, very good. Okay, so this concludes what we expect for our substantive work, except for the personnel report. We will go in accordance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act, the board may hold a closed session for the discussion of matters related to a number of specified topics. And today's topics are related to 2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body. 2C11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or an administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed session. 2C21, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06. May I have a motion to go into closed session with a roll call vote?
Chair Massey, there's also the need to add section 2C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
Good, let that be added. So will the Assistant Secretary please call the roll?
I believe we need a motion, sir.
A motion. Second?
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Swanson?
Approved.
Secretary Davis? All right, seems like she might have dropped off. Trustee Kent? Trustee Tellman?
Approved.
Trustee Williams?
Approved.
Student Trustee Thomas?
Approved.
And Chair Massey?
Approved. Okay, so the closed session has been approved, and we're going to go off of this live feed. It will remain active, though you will see a notice that the board is in closed session. We will return to consider the personnel report item before we adjourn. For those of you who decide to depart before we return today, I would like to thank you for joining us. And I will note that you can look at the website, ccc.edu, for information on our next meeting. Let the record show that the closed session motion has been approved. Trustees, you now please sign out and connect to the closed session website. We will be back. Thank you. Okay, we got out of all of this. Okay, are we back?
Yes, we're still missing Trustee Kent and Secretary Davis, but you do have quorum.
Well, let's wait on Trustee Kent. She has a personal interest in the item. Can you contact her in any way? Make sure.
She's Trustee Kent is on.
Okay.
So yes, I don't know if
So we're all
Secretary
here.
Davis,
Okay.
Secretary Davis is not on, but
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, so the open session is now. Okay, the open session is now reconvened. There was no action taken during the closed session. There's one item left on the agenda, and that is to approve the item. What is the number?
2.00.
Item 2.00. May I have a motion to approve item 2.00?
So moved.
Yes, second.
Second.
Are there comments? No, hearing no comments, may I have a roll call vote on the motion? Secretary Kane, please.
Vice Chair Swanson?
Approved.
Secretary Davis?
Approved.
Trustee Kent?
Abstain.
Trustee Tellman?
Approved.
Trustee Williams?
Approved.
Student Trustee Thomas?
Approved.
Chair Massey?
Approved. So the motion has been approved. There being no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good
Everybody have a good 4th of July.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stay safe, everybody.
Have a
All right, you too,
safe
Chair Massey.
holiday.
Okay.